So much of what actually drives us as people is totally hidden. It's kind of like an iceberg. The biggest, most important part is all beneath the surface. Today, we're going to go exploring that hidden world, the one that really governs our interactions and, explains why we all do the crazy things we do. Have you ever had that feeling, you're in a conversation and someone says the words, "I'm fine," but their eyes, their posture, everything else is just screaming a completely different story? It's that huge gap, right? The one between what's spoken and what's unspoken. And that's exactly the gap we're going to try and bridge today. So, that bridge, that key to unlocking this whole hidden world, well, it's something we call social intelligence. And look, this isn't about manipulation. It's the absolute opposite. It's about mastering the art of understanding human behavior so you can genuinely connect, influence, and yeah, ultimately thrive. All right, first up, the unspoken language. Let's start by tuning into those invisible forces that are honestly constantly shaping our lives. I mean, it's a massive paradox when you think about it, right? We have more ways to communicate than at any point in human history, yet so many of us feel more disconnected than ever. We're sending messages, but we're missing the meaning. We're collecting contacts, but we're losing real, actual relationships. This is the problem that social intelligence is here to solve. And just so we're on the same page, this isn't some lecture. Think of me more like a companion on this journey with you. We're exploring this stuff together, really wrestling with the same big questions about why on earth we all act the way we do. Okay, next section, let's talk about the mirror of behavior and really dig into what it reflects from deep down inside of us. Here's the key thing to remember. What we see on the surface, someone's behavior, it's never ever random. It's a direct reflection of their inner world. It's that visible tip of the iceberg, right? And underneath is this whole mass of hidden fears and needs and beliefs. Okay, let's make this super real. Think about that person who's always interrupting. Maybe it's not arrogance. What if it's a deep-seated fear of being ignored? Or the person who won't make eye contact. Maybe it's not them being rude. Maybe it's just self-protection, a fear of rejection. See? This is how we start to shift from judging people to being genuinely curious about them. There's this great case study of a young woman who seemed just incredibly generous and kind, always saying yes to everything. But her behavior, it was a mirror. Her kindness wasn't really kindness. It was a survival strategy she learned as a kid, where affection was always conditional. The moment she realized that pattern, she started setting boundaries, and boom, that was her path to mastery, to real, genuine confidence. And of course, this brings the focus right back to us, doesn't it? If our own behavior is a mirror, what is it showing? What old story, what hidden fear, what unmet need is driving the way you show up in the world? Man, that is a really powerful question to just sit with for a minute. All right, this leads us perfectly into our next idea, your emotional compass. It's time we completely reframe how we think about our feelings, not as weaknesses, but as this incredibly powerful guide. Okay, this right here is a total game changer of a perspective. We love to think of ourselves as rational beings who feel sometimes, but the truth, we are emotional beings who then use logic to justify what we already feel. Emotion is in the driver's seat almost all the time. So if emotions are really the driver, we have got to stop treating them like enemies. They aren't weaknesses. They are vital, crucial signals. Anger isn't just blah noise. It's a messenger, and it's telling you a boundary was crossed. Sadness is signaling that a loss occurred. And joy? Well, joy is your internal compass confirming, yes, you are on the right path. So how do we actually use this compass in real life? Well, it's a pretty simple 3-step process. First is awareness. You got to name what you're feeling and be specific. Not just I'm stressed, but I'm feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. Second, curiosity. Get curious. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? And finally, courage. Find the courage to express what you're feeling honestly and constructively, instead of just letting it build up and explode. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and explore what I call the art of subtle influence. And again, we're not talking about manipulation here. We're talking about a genuine way to guide and connect with people. There's such a massive difference between control and influence. Control is all about pushing. It's forcing, it's demanding, and all it does is create resistance. But true influence, that's a pull. It's about inspiring people, aligning with them, so they actually want to move with you. And please never, ever forget this. You can have the most brilliant logic in the world, but if you make someone feel defensive, you've already lost the battle. Logic might open someone's mind, sure, but it's emotion that actually moves people to take action. Because here's the secret. Real influence isn't some tactic you use on other people. It's a power that radiates from within you. It's the magnetic pull of your own authenticity. It's not a weapon you wield, it's just who you are. All right, let's bring all these ideas together now and talk about your path to mastery. Ultimately, this is what it all comes down to. The gap between the life you're living right now and the life you really want, it's not about luck. It's not even about talent. It's about the standards you are willing to live by, what you demand from yourself, and just as important, what you refuse to tolerate anymore. So this is your call to action. Stop waiting. Stop waiting for that perfect moment when you'll magically feel confident or ready. That moment is a myth. It doesn't exist. You build confidence by acting. You become the person you want to be by starting to be that person right now, even in tiny, small ways. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of our whole time together. Forget about overhauling your entire life overnight. That's not how it works. Instead, what is just one standard, just one, in your behavior, your emotions, your connections, that you are willing to consciously reset starting today? Because that single choice, that's where this whole journey really begins.